Hello, my name is Jocelyn Villa, and I'm doing my final developmental project on option number one over my life. An overview of my life: I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. I moved to Arizona permanently my freshman year, I believe, in high school. I was raised by my mom only. I have five siblings. I am the second oldest. I would think of my mom as an authoritative parent, and I think this has had a lot of impact on my life in a positive way. We have always lived, and I've always went to really diverse schools and a diverse environment. I've always loved talking to people. I'm very outspoken, and college and work has always been one of my main goals. So, starting with attachment during infancy, I believe you attach to whoever is always there. Even if your mother or your dad has to work a lot, and you still see them and know that they're always there. For me, it was my mother more than anything. While my other brothers, they bonded with both parents, sometimes even more with their dad. I see now my little sister; she bonds a lot more with her dad, but I believe it's because she doesn't see him as much as she's always with my mom. Parenting styles have a lot of impact on us. Having an authoritarian parent, permissive parent, rejecting, neglecting parents. Authoritative parents are more successful and socially skilled, and they work best. I think my mom did a great job at being this type of parent. Sometimes it was hard for her to give me freedom when I was growing up because she had always told me I am a girl, and it's more dangerous to let me out at certain times of night, certain places. So I also had to take that into consideration on why she would let me not do things rather than my brother. He could do way more things and go out with his friends, which I'm sure we've always, if we have older brothers, you see the different types of parenting and how the strictness is between you two. Classroom learning. I like to think of myself as a learner. I've always loved to learn. I love to learn new things. I love when people teach me new things. Even my professors, from other classmates, looking at documentaries. I put classroom learning because I think this is what shapes us into the high school and like how we learn, how we grasp things, how things stay with us. According to Gardner's theory, we have 8 abilities, possibly 9 distinctive forms of human intelligence. And these are all impacted by classroom learning, diversity of intelligence, cultures, educational experiences at home. Maybe you went to a different school in a different country. Also, small rural schools, if you went to a large urban, a public school, a private school, say a military school. I actually noticed the difference when I went to school in Chicago. In Chicago, we still had a whiteboard. No, sorry, we still had chalkboards. We had our lockers inside the classroom. We had the little small eraser boards inside of our desks. It wasn't too much technology as when I got here to Arizona. That teacher had like the whiteboards, and they had the nice computers, now attached to them. It was pretty different to learn that way because I'd always learned pencil to paper, and the teacher always would write on the board, and I would see that, and it was different now that you really didn't. And also, as you grow older, in some classes for attendance, you would just click in. You'd have a clicker, and you clicked in for your attendance. The teacher wouldn't call you no more, so everything dramatically changed. And the school right there that you see is Cicero West Elementary School. That was the school I went to in Chicago. The schools over there are closed off in one building because it's so cold. And behind it was Cicero East, which was a middle school. Body issues. Body issues has to be, I think, the second biggest impact that a lot of us girls go through during high school, especially during high school. I mean, maybe even starting 8th grade, 7th grade. You feel pressured of being a certain type of thin, a certain type of full around, like say like the hips, or you should have like bigger breasts, or smaller breasts, or you should have a pear-shaped body, you should be taller, you should have long hair. And I think we all struggle with these, if not every day, then almost occasionally, you start noticing changes, like, oh, I don't like this, I want to change this. Um, for I seen from the book, African American and Latin girls should be more full around the hips, thin waist, thick thighs, big butt, because of some role models, such as Queen Latifah and Beyonce. We are now more open to that being, but I remember back then in magazines you seen more skinny girls, like skinny girls, and you had to be tall and skinny and blonde hair, and that was the ideal picture of beautifulness. But now we see more thick girls, more fuller girls, light skinned girls, bronzier girls. There's also, I don't know if anybody knows her, but she's pretty popular now on social media, Amara La Negra. And she's outspoken of what all Latinas should look like. All Latinas shouldn't look like J-Lo or Thalia. They should also be, there's also Afro-Latinas, and I think a lot of the times as Latins, as Hispanics, we think, oh, because you're light skinned and you have blonde, and you have lighter eyes, and you dye your hair blonde, then those are what Latinas should look like. But we also have the Afro-Latinas, which they're darker skinned, their roots are African, they do speak Spanish, and we shouldn't count them any less of a Latina or as African, because of how they look or because their hair is different from us. I really like what her message stands for, of diversity in our ethnicity and our culture and all that. Adulthood has to be one of the scariest things, I think, for all of us. We think we're going to fly by the book, we're going to move out at 18, we're going to work, we're going to have a house. And I think once we hit our senior year or we graduate, life hits us like it never has before. And according to Erickson's theory, we have identity diffusion, identity foreclosure, moratorium, identity achievement. Also, with your ethnicity identity, and a minority theme, sometimes as Hispanics, Blacks, Asians, more minority, we have a problem of knowing where to go, either going to college or should we work full time to help our parents, to give back to our parents. We feel like we do owe it to them, but we also know we need to make a life for us in the future. So I think it's very hard balancing those two out. You're finding a career and you're in college, and I think it has to be one of the hardest things because you want to do so many things. You want to be successful. You want to prove your parents that, yes, you are going to make them proud. And I think it's one of the hardest things, but also one of the things that makes you a great person, and you learn from these things as well. What I learned throughout the semester was how we can relate so much to each other's childhoods, parenting, and cultures by our discussion boards, which I really liked, that we could also give our insight to other people and question them. In the book, I also found myself relating a lot to it, and personally, I thought at first I wasn't going to relate to the book. I thought it was going to talk all about like upper psychology, like not actually like, oh, different